Welcome to Jets Rewind. I'm Marty Schupak in Valley Cottage, New York. I'm joined by my two great friends and very close friends, Ray Clifford in Ohio's Marysville, Ohio. Ralph Sharega up in, where are you these days, Ralph, in Massachusetts?
In Belmont, which is not really close to you, Marty, so we're not close friends right
That's
now.
okay. So anyway, I have some local news I want to get to. I just want to see because we haven't been on in a while. How you doing, Ray?
Good, good. Just gearing up for another exciting preseason with the Jets.
Okay. And you, Ralph?
Hope springs eternal. I've already drank the Kool-Aid, grape and lime, and I'm ready to go.
All right, there we go. And today we're recording this around 12:30 on Saturday. I guess today is the 27th. A lot of you fans were out at Florham Park this morning and saw a very good practice. Just a couple of roster moves that the Jets made. They cut the quarterback Ben Bryant and they signed a quarterback Adrian Martinez.
Jesus, did Ben Bryant even unpack his stuff?
I don't know. I mean,
I can't
talk about
believe
respect. And
it.
I'll get back to that. They also cut Nehemiah Shelton and signed another cornerback, Kendall Sheffield. And as Ralph said, Ben Bryant was like, today is Saturday. He was, I think, signed on Thursday and then cut. And they signed Adrian Martinez. If you guys look at your email, I sent you a highlight film of
Yeah,
him.
I didn't get a chance to look at it.
Well, it just happened. He was MVP of the UFL, a running quarterback.
Mm.
Uh, very exciting. Let's see how he could transition though to the NFL. Because it is quarterback. I think the Jets have this other guy, Paisley, who's now a quarterback. He's like the third string.
Easily, yeah.
I think he's been doing pretty good. He's by way of Wyoming. But a couple of things also today, just for you Jet fans. I saw in the red zone. Aaron Rodgers hit a Malik Taylor for a touchdown, and he's having a pretty good camp. Jalen Key had a
Is this yesterday's or today's? This sounds like
today.
yesterday. That's
No,
today.
I
Same.
believe
Yeah.
you. Oh, maybe it is yesterday.
I think it is yesterday.
Oh,
It
okay.
sounded like a replay.
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe it is a replay. But anyway, one of the guys I want you guys to keep an eye on, he's an undrafted free agent. His name is Jackson Sherman. Sermon,
Sermon, yeah.
Sirmon. And he's from California Golden Bears by way of Washington. The reason I wanted to keep an eye on him is he's the type of player that actually Ralph and I love. The ball seems to follow him like Ashton Davis last year and former Jet Dwight Lowry.
Well, by the way, it's from Cal as well, Ashton Davis.
Oh, okay, which is interesting. He had a great year, 2022, and I happened to be watching a Notre Dame game one week, the beginning of the year. He had 15 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks. They lost to Notre Dame 24-17. I remember he stood out. I think he was injured last year, but just keep it
Yeah,
up.
he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think between him and the kid from Army, I think one of those two guys will stick.
At least special teams. I think you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I think you're absolutely right. Now, we have an interesting agenda. And before you
Hey,
know,
Marty.
yeah,
Hey,
right.
Marty, real quick, just a question on Gonzalez. Was he at Nebraska? You remember where he's out of? Thought it was
He is
Nebraska.
out of Nebraska. Yeah.
Okay.
I think he played
I
for,
do
Oh,
remember him. Yeah.
like
yeah.
many college athletes these days, uh, he might have played for 2 schools. But when Ralph reads the question of the day, I will look it up. But I know he did definitely go to Nebraska. Very good, Ray. Did you
Yeah,
play there?
now that you mention it,
Big
Red.
Ten, but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
and if he's still on the team, Ralph is going to do a deep dive into that video. Don't spend too much time
Yeah.
because after
Yeah.
what happened to Ben Bryant, he might.
Well,
It was a bold move.
by the time the show is over, Martinez could be cut.
That's true.
Well, I know you said he was a running quarterback, but in those clips, Ralph, you'll see it's a lot of throwing. he seems to throw a pretty decent ball, and he didn't always have guys super wide open from the
Yeah.
one I saw. So
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like he's got some potential possibly as a backup.
I guess the question is, he was MVP of the UFL. Why? How come he was still out there? Which is always,
Well, maybe he was waiting to get the call from Joe
Yeah.
Douglas because
right. But
the
yeah,
Jets are a destination now, right?
but anyway, Ray, he did play for Nebraska, and like I said, like many college athletes that enter the portal, that's like their second address. He played for Kansas State before that, so we'll see what happens. Listen, look, I'm of the opinion always take one and sometimes two quarterbacks, hide them somewhere, whatever. And Ralph had mentioned in the last podcast that the trend might be to develop some of these guys, which
Yeah.
I think is a good chance. As
Yeah, on this, do it slowly rather than rush them.
right,
Already, I'm up here in Boston already. Like Drake May is struggling, and
Yeah.
the guy they picked in the fifth round, the kid from Tennessee, Milton.
yes,
They're all excited about him. He's got a big arm and he's an
yes,
athlete. But
Yeah.
the point is that these first round picks have so much pressure on them
right,
that
right.
And I mean, it's such a jump going from where they were to this level that, expecting them not to struggle is just ridiculous.
Yeah,
But
and I remember the words, Ray, of Chad Pennington. He said once that all of a sudden, like the game slows down and they could actually see it. And obviously, for some players, it doesn't slow down. I don't know if it's ever going to slow down for a guy like Zach Wilson.
how did I know you're going to bring him up?
We'll have to, we'll have to see. Meanwhile, talking about quarterbacks, I saw earlier that Tua on Miami got an extension for a tremendous amount of money. I don't know the numbers. I think it was like 4 years, somewhere around
214, I think.
214 million, whatever it is. It's not.
Well, that sounds like about what Jordan Love got.
Yes, Jordan Love got a
which is a real roll of the dice from
Mm.
1 year off of 1 year.
Yes, yes.
See,
Anyway,
yeah.
let's get on with the agenda. Ralph has a question.
It's not a trivia question. It's just a question that well, it's a good way to start the season with this question, and I think Marty's going to start researching. Well, it's a short question. It's very simply this: over the next 2 years or seasons, who has a better chance of winning a championship, the Jets or the Knicks?
That's a great question. I'm writing it down. Okay. Okay, we're going to come back to that.
For all us New York fans,
Right. Now, Ray, Hassan Reddick, we all three of us were very excited when they made that trade. It was for a draft pick that is like a nothing, and he's in his, I guess it's day 3 of his holdout. Ray, are you concerned about that at all?
A little bit, not really at this point. I think it'll get done. I don't think he's gonna actually pass up on 14 mil to hold out for any real length of time, or for the season or anything. Or I don't see him demanding a trade. At least I don't think he would, at this point. But I think it'll get done. I'm just really kind of disappointed at the way it played out. He sounded like he was okay with being on his last year and seeing how things go and that, and then he gets here and pulls this stunt. But I guess I'm not super concerned because I really have faith that Will McDonald's going to take a step up, and I think our defense is good enough without him, as long as we have to be, to still be a really solid defense. But a bit concerned only because you don't want it to linger. You don't want this to become an issue. But all in all, I think it'll get done here.
So, okay, you
Well,
think,
I think it won't get through training camp. I think it'll get done during training camp.
okay, before the season starts, when you say get done, do you think they're going to give him some sort of extension? Even
I
if it's
think so.
one year?
I hope so. At least from, what I'm expecting out of him. Yeah, I'd like to see him, make it maybe a 2 or 3 year deal at least, maybe 3 years, but the third year, an option.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to see it get
How about-
extended, not just sign a 1 year deal.
How about you, Ralph? Same thing. Are you
Well,
concerned? Any of
well,
it?
no, I'm not really concerned yet, but from what I understand, Douglas did make an offer. And it's just, this guy is looking for more.
Yeah.
He's what, 30? By next season he'll be 31. The idea of him sitting out a year and then expecting some team to shell out a ton of money for him, that would be kind of risky. And I think the guy likes football, and I think he's probably climbing the walls right now. That always happens. I think they will. I think they'll get something done between now and September. It won't be as much as he wants, and probably a little more than Douglas's offer. They'll find some middle ground. I like you, Red. I'd like to see him, get 2 years, and the third year not guaranteed. Because I definitely want him around for more than 1 year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I kind of agree with you, but I think he's not gonna, let $14 million just walk away. I think they're gonna try to do something, and I think he will be on the field. I'm guessing sometime next week. Ralph, I want to start with you on the wide receiver situation. Not a surprise. Mike Williams is on the PUP list, which is the physically unable to perform. And the question is, I guess, do you think that they're going to go after another wide receiver? Right now, they have Lazard, who's having a good camp, and Gibson is going to be out for 2 weeks with a lower, I don't know, described leg injury. Which if I was his friend or agent, I would advise him to get back as soon as he could. One of the reasons Malik Taylor seems to be having a pretty good camp. But Ralph, what do you think the situation is with wide receiver?
I don't think they're going to get it, make a big splash. I think they probably think Rodgers can up Lazard's game. The Gibson the timing for that is unfortunate, but as far as I'm concerned, I am not, totally sold on their wide receiver room, minus Wilson at this point, because we don't know about Williams. If we knew for a fact that Williams is going to be able to play the bulk of the season at the level he has been, then I wouldn't be worried. But we don't know. Coming off, what do you have, an ACL?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ralph, this actually, I think it bodes well for Malachi Corley that he'll get more snaps in the next week, which is big for a rookie. Okay.
Yeah, like I said, there's been so much hype, mainly from him. He's put a little pressure on himself, but so we'll see.
Right. And Ray, what about your feeling about the wide receiver room?
I think Joe's always looking, but I don't think he's actively trying to grab anybody yet, unless they get some bad news on Williams from the doctors saying that it might linger well into the season or something like that. But other than that, I think he's probably going to wait it out and kind of see how Williams does when he is on the field, and I think he's okay with what we have right now. And I think Lazard will make a big jump as long as it's Rodgers on the field. I think that was a lot of his issues last year was who was throwing to him.
Right.
Who was that, Marty? Marty, remind me, who was throwing to him last year?
That's okay. But
I wasn't throwing to him.
I'll just go through some on the depth chart, which is unofficial. Of course, Mike Williams, Garrett Wilson, Xavier Gibson. We have Jason Brownlee, Alan Lazard, Malachi Corley. We have Irv Charles. I guess he's going to make the team, Raf, because of special teams, you think?
Yeah, I think he's definitely yeah.
Isn't that why they said they let what's his name go?
But you really like him as a receiver, Marty. I know you think.
Well, I thought he was okay. I mean, Lance McCutcheon, Malik Taylor. I like Malik Taylor, but
he has a history with Rodgers too, Malik Taylor.
Yeah.
So he might be comfortable with him. So
they got somebody named Tyler Harrell.
Well, what about these free agents? These undrafted free agents. The guy they shelled out a lot of money for.
Marcus Riley.
Yeah, yeah. What, I
Yeah,
haven't heard a word about him.
I haven't
You?
heard anything too. Wasn't he a quarterback before a wide receiver?
It's
Ralph?
part, it's, yeah, it's possible, but,
Okay, yeah.
Whatever happened with Corey Davis? Did he ever sign somewhere else or anything?
I
I
haven't heard anything about him.
I
Yeah.
don't think he signed anywhere, and I don't know what's
That's
going
true.
on.
He's sitting out there. That's true.
Well, when you think about it, again, I'm not as big as on him as you guys or other Jet fans, but if he somehow ended up signing with the Jets, that I think that would be a nice fit. I'm not saying he'd be really
Yeah.
good, but I
I
think
think it would be a, you know, a matter of depth, if nothing
yes,
else. Yeah.
yes,
If Mike Williams is not healthy, you know.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It solidifies the depth in wide
Yeah.
receiver. So, hey Ray, they have they're cutting down on the preseason games, but one of the things that they're doing is it seems they used to only have like one joint practice with another team. I think they're having two this year.
Three. The Jets are having three.
Oh, they're having three.
Yeah,
Oh,
they had about two or three other teams having three. A lot of the other teams having two. So Jets are really, I guess,
oh,
into
okay,
it.
good.
Yeah.
So Ray, I want to ask you, what do you think's more valuable, the preseason games or these joint practices?
Well, minus any fights that break out, I think the practices are way more beneficial because you get the preseason games and basically the starters get like one or two series. And now that there's, less games, I'm not sure if they, how much they'll let them play, but generally the starters don't get a lot of work in a preseason game. And so at least in the practices, you'll go with the first team on a series or two, and then you go to the second team and that. I think they get a lot more benefit out of that. But I always worry about injuries, resulting in the preseason, and I don't like the fights that seem to break out every year, and I'm just thinking that's just a recipe for another injury. But as far as preparing the team for the season, I think the practices by far.
Okay, how about you, Ralph? I happen to agree with
Yeah.
you, Ray.
Yeah. I agree. As far as the fights go, Ray, I look at it this way. They're either going to fight with each other or they'll fight with the other team, you know. So better with the other team, I suppose. And of course, the quarterbacks have the red shirts,
Yeah.
so that's good too. So Rodgers will get a lot of work,
Yes.
whereas he's going to get virtually nothing in the preseason.
Yeah.
I like the joint practices. I'm happen to one that loves these one-on-one drills with the offensive and defensive linemen. I know sometimes on the combine before the Senior Bowl, if I'm able to catch the drills with the offensive and defensive linemen, I mean, I could watch that for 6 hours.
Yeah, they're fun.
I just love it. I just think it's great. So just like what you guys said, I think they are more impactful, more important. I think they get to see, more of their skill set up close. But again, we go through the, teams end up fighting each other. And as Ray said, I don't want there to be any injuries. Ralph, you know what? Everyone was down last year on these two coaches, Nathaniel Hackett, the offensive coordinator, and Keith Carter, the offensive line coach. And I want to ask you both, I mean, who's going to have more of an impact on the Jets' success or failure this year? Is it going to be Keith Carter, the OL coach, or Nathaniel Hackett?
You talking to me first?
Yeah, if your name's Ralph, I'm talking to you.
Wait a minute. Let me see. Yep. Okay.
Look at your name. Look at your name tag.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Keith Carter, because I think Nathaniel Hackett is kind of just there for show at this point. It's kind of I feel badly for the guy. It's kind of embarrassing. I mean, all you hear about is this guy. They were looking to bring in that guy. They're looking to bring in as an advisor, and obviously, I think we all agree the offensive line is the key to their season this year. So we got to hope that this whatever Keith Carter was attending to get a personality implant or transplant. Hopefully that works, and then he's able to maintain that in the heat of battle, because he's got a lot of veterans on there that are not going to take that kind of BS. Probably they wouldn't be too happy with it.
Okay, how about you, Ray?
Oh, definitely Carter. because Hackett's gonna, just like in Green Bay, Hackett will send in a play, but Rodgers will adjust to whatever he thinks fits and what he wants. So, I mean, I think they have a good chemistry, but I think that Hackett didn't have as much of an impact as Rodgers kind of implies. I think he just takes whatever he calls in there and then reads the defense and makes an adjustment. Whereas Carter, if he has everybody playing well, that can make the whole difference for this team.
I actually think that didn't Matt LaFleur actually call the plays in Green Bay? For some
Actually, you're
reason-
probably right.
Yeah.
Although
Hackett-
Rodgers implies it was Hackett.
nice gig this Hackett's got. He gets paid to go everywhere and do nothing.
Yeah.
Rodgers implies Hackett is
He's a good guy. That's why he's around, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I think it's Keith Carter, just like you guys. I don't want to be repetitive, and I agree with everything you say. I think the offense is basically Aaron Rodgers and, everything else. A quick trivia. I think, Ralph, I'll ask him, but tell me, I think this is an old one. Which Jet quarterback was active for the most games in team history? Did you ever answer that?
Yeah, I think I did. I think
Okay. So tell me the answer.
I think isn't it Pat Ryan?
Right, Pat
Yeah.
Ryan, 141 games from
What a
1978 to 19.
what a history the Jets have, huh?
keyword they're active. That doesn't,
Yeah.
Right, so they were on the bench, yeah.
120 of them.
Yeah. And next question
question.
is, what player not named Aaron Rodgers will generate the most buzz during training camp? And I'm going to start with this. I think it's a player that I really believe us three really love this guy. I think it's Tyler Conklin. I think he's having a pretty good camp. I think he's going to have a great year. Look at his numbers last year: 61 receptions, 621 yards, no touchdowns, but he had no quarterback. So
Or offensive line, yeah.
or offensive line. So I really believe it's going to be Tyler Conklin. And just for what I've been hearing from my sniffers out in Florham Park, Aaron Rodgers, and I don't take a lot of this too serious right now because it's all in pads, but he has looked unbelievably right now for the first 3 days of training camp. His best attribute, from what I'm hearing, is how quick he's been getting rid of the ball, which is really incredible for a guy his age. But I'm going to say it's going to be Tyler Conklin, and I want to hear what Ray wants to say. Go ahead, Ray.
Well, I thought about Conklin, and I think Ruckert's going to have a decent year from this year too. But I'm just not sold yet that Aaron will prioritize the tight end. He never did in Green Bay as much, but I hope so because it seems like they have a pretty good chemistry starting up here. I said Corley, but I don't know for sure if he's going to be as big a factor. But I think he could be a big game changer. And other than him, I'm still excited to see what Garrett Wilson can do with a top-notch quarterback.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And Ralph, what do you say?
Well, I'm looking at this just as from now till the beginning of the season, who's going to be causing buzz.
Right.
I don't know that this guy is going to have a huge impact this year, but I think in training camp, I think my guy Quantez Stiggers. Every day, this guy either picks one off or almost picks one off. That's something that you're born with, and he did that in Canada too. It's a very good athlete. I think this guy's going to be starting for them next year instead of DJ Reed, who will be gone. Right. And I'm really excited about him, and for no other reason than hopefully he can push Brandon Eccles down the depth chart a bit.
Right, Ralph. Quick question for both of you guys. I'm gonna say a name, and you're either gonna say 53-man roster, practice squad, or cut. Okay, here we go. Ralph, you go first. Jalen Key.
Practice squad.
Ray.
Yeah, practice squad.
Okay, and my one of our old favorites, Ralph.
Marty, what do you say about Jalen Key?
I'm gonna say he's gonna make the 53-man roster.
Okay.
I just like you on
Stiggers.
Stiggers, I have a good feeling on this guy. I don't know why,
Hmm.
but we'll have to see. He probably won't, but I'm gonna say it. Okay, and how about on one of our favorites, cut 53 or practice squad, Ralph, Michael Clemens.
It's just something, Bernard Converse, I think they turned him into a cornerback.
Oh, they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's one less depth piece that Jalen Key has to fight through to get onto the 53-man squad. So there you go. Michael Clemens, no, I think he's gonna make the team at 53.
Okay, Ray, 53 cut or
I
practice
think,
squad?
well, if he's on the outside, I think he'll make the team. If they leave him on the inside, I'm thinking he might get cut. I just don't think I don't think he fits inside. At least last year he didn't show it. But if they move him back the outside, I think he sticks.
Right. But from what I hear, and Ralph, you may be able to confirm this defensive lineman from Connecticut, Watts, has looked better than Leonard. I think Leonard's on the PUP list.
He is on the published. You know, that blows me away because I watched a lot of film of that guy Watson. He looks so slow. I was
Really?
so unimpressed with him. But so I'm skeptical about that report right
Okay.
now. I don't know what Leonard Taylor's problem is though. Do you?
I don't know. It's so
Yeah.
hard these days to find out,
Yeah.
so general, like Gibson, lower leg injury.
Yeah, upper body. They all got that from hockey. Hockey's
Yeah.
been doing that for years. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I'll start with Ray. You say either 53 practice squad or cut. Max Mitchell.
Ooh, boy, I tell you, last year he struggled mightily. I'm hoping, he kind of bounces back, but at this point, unless he shows a lot of improvement before the season starts, I'm going to say cut.
Ralph.
I think he's going to make the team. That would mean they're probably going to keep 5 tackles, which I think they probably should because their 2 starters are so old. That would be Olu and your guy Carter Warren and him. I think he'll make the team. Actually, someone mentioned the other day that he'd had a very nice day. So
Is he okay? I haven't heard anything.
I think the thing is last year we don't know if there was
the lingering from
his
drugs or
problems. So they probably I think if we have to give him one more shot. Yeah.
Okay, all right, Ralph. Next one's for you. You say the 53 practice squad or cut. My favorite, Jack Kuntz, tight end.
Oh, either practice or cut. And,
You got to pick one, Ralph. Come on.
I know. Well, I'm thinking out loud. I'm gonna say cut.
Okay, I hear good things. I keep hearing about Kenny Yeboah, how he's doing in OTAs and everything.
Yeah.
How about you, Ray? 53 practice squad or cut on Zach Kuntz.
I'd say probably cut.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that too, and I won't miss him. Okay, let's go on to the next question. Any other guy you want to add to this great segment? 53 practice squad or cut. I mean,
Zaire Barnes.
53.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I think they'll keep him.
Yeah, and Chaz Surratt too, or do you think one of the
That's I was gonna ask that's a tough one. I think
He's a good special teamer.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, Ray. Who has a better chance to stick, Surratt or Izzy, the running back?
It's a tough one.
I would say because of special teams, Surratt, but because Izzy's got a lot of competition. He's really got to show something this
Yeah,
trip.
Izzy's a good question. I think I'd go practice squad with Izzy, and someone might pluck him too. Yeah.
I don't even think they're gonna waste a spot in the practice squad. I think he's gone. And by the way, I didn't mention, but apparently the often injured special teams player, Tariq Cohen, has looked pretty good in practice.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him play a little.
So am I. And that happens to be one of the positions where even though they don't have pads, you could get an idea of how a guy is
Yeah.
looking. And he had a nice return, reversing field. So, we'll keep an eye on him. Ralph, Tariq Cohen, was he bar mitzvahed?
Bob Mitzford, yeah.
All right, let's go to the next
He,
question.
yeah, he was a,
Out of, Ralph, you might have to help me out with this question. Out of these four players.
yeah, I knew this was the question. I tried to word it 4 different ways. I know
Well, why don't you word
Marty's
it?
gonna get confused. All right, it's a 2-part question. These 4 guys, which one of them do you think has, well, okay, which one of them, if if one of these 4 guys became a Pro Bowler this year, he had a breakout year, of which one of them do you think would help the Jets most? If Will
Well,
McDonald,
right.
yeah, Will McDonald, Tippmann, Gibson, or Tony Adams, which one do you think, yeah, would lift the
I'll
Jets up?
start. The way you just worded, I think that's a great question. I think that it would be Will McDonald.
Interesting.
If he has that big jump, I think he's going to have a really good impact on the team, and not just as a pass rusher, but as a run stopper too. So I'm going to say Will McDonald. Ray?
I said Gibson. I think Tippmann could have a really good year, but I think that's all dependent on the rest of the line staying healthy. I think Tippmann will be solid no matter, how the rest of the line is, but as far as how well the line will play, it's going to be down to the tackles. But Gibson, of course, that lower leg injury might have just changed my
Yeah.
yeah, my opinion. But I think, he could have a big year in this offense. Obviously everything's dependent on Rodgers and the O-line, but I think Gibson, I think things will open up a great deal with Rodgers. I think our running game could be a lot more effective than it's been. So
Ray got into early voting and it got him into trouble here, you see.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
that's right. Ralph?
I'm gonna go with Tony Adams because I don't see it happening, but I think that that's probably one of that's their weakness on their defense is safety. And boy, if he became like a Pro Bowl level player, like everyone except me and you and Ray seems to think,
Well,
then it would I think it would make that defense incredible. But and it's just the other day I'm hearing an interview with Chuck Clark. He was doing facing the press, and they asked him about Tony Adams. He says, I came over here and I'm looking at Tony Adams. This guy, his athleticism, he's phenomenal. How could this guy have been an undrafted free agent?
well, Ralph, has more propaganda from the Jets coaching staff, Tony Adams or Malachi Corley?
Oh, that's a tough one.
I think it's probably Adams because he's mostly talking himself.
Yeah.
Though I don't believe for a second the Jets said after the first round he was the highest rated receiver on their board. I don't buy that at all.
I don't know why they would even say that. That's like that was really that was
Right.
disappointing to hear.
Okay, and Ray, do you want to say something about that?
No.
Okay,
Marty, actually, something we forgot. I wanted to talk about at our last podcast was so far removed. Apropos of Malachi Corley, was that it came out about a day or two after our last podcast that the Jets were offered a really nice deal by the LA Rams.
Yes.
And it was switching first round picks, and they were going to give them their second, which was like 52, and then another one,
A third. Yeah.
And and people were debating, should he have done it or should he not have done it? And my feeling was he absolutely should not have done it because of one simple reason. Because with that 53rd pick, he would have taken Corley. I mean, he was already on the phones at that point. So it would have been a total waste because he got Corley later. So that I think they actually got lucky with that, not taking it.
I hope he pans out. He calls himself the Yak King. If he thinks he's going to get all that extra yardage I did in college, I'm not saying he won't get any, but it's not going to be the same as it was in college. I mean, he's going to get hit. He's going to feel it too.
Well, if he keeps talking, they're gonna make sure that he feels it.
Right, right. Ralph, in honor of the Mets, I wrote down a question for you. You have to excuse me, Ralph. I was
All
just
right.
looking up. The 76 Cincinnati Reds had 7 players on the All-Star team. Who were they?
Oh my gosh. Well, let's see. I guess Cesar Geronimo probably was on it that year, was he?
No,
No, that's a good start. Okay, Bench, Rose, Perez,
Wait a minute. Yeah, go ahead.
George Foster.
Yeah, that's
Oh, is these just position
All-Stars.
players or is it the pitchers too?
No, position players.
Yeah. Griffey,
Yes, sir.
how many is that? 5?
5.
Um,
There's one obvious one you're missing.
Pete Rose, did I say?
No, you said Rose.
I said Rose. I just see their shortstop Concepcion.
Right, one more. This is the obvious one.
Did I say? I said Bench.
Right.
Bench.
Second obvious.
Bench, Perez, Morgan. I didn't say
Yes,
Morgan.
Joe Morgan.
Oh,
Very
okay.
good, Ralph.
All right.
Ray, you have to excuse me. I was looking up some stuff and it came across the 76 Reds that swept my Yankees. Before that, they swept. Who'd they sweep before that? Was it
No, what you mean
They beat the Sox in 7.
in 7 games? In the
No,
year
no,
before.
I'm
Oh,
doing
in the
the 76.
semifinals.
That was 75.
Oh, you're talking about in
playoffs?
the playoffs. Probably Pittsburgh. That would be my guess.
Whatever it is, but
Yeah.
they swept both. The Yankees in 4.
Uh-huh.
Whoever they played in the NLCS. Okay, anyway, this is the Jets podcast, so let's get back to the Jets. I know Ray's ecstatic the way the Mets are playing.
Did they win again last night?
They did.
I think they
Oh
did.
my gosh. I'm really shocked. I guess we shouldn't be talking about
But they
it.
lost. They lost the pitcher there, the one who made his first start. I don't know if it was of the season or in a long time. He had 9 strikeouts, but then he went down with a lower leg injury.
I heard that. Yeah.
He was getting an MRI today. Didn't hear that.
Well, look, it's a fun year. It's amazing how things have flip-flopped. The
Really? Yeah.
Yankees cannot beat the Camp Willoway All-Star team, Ralph, from 1967.
Well, we were good. We were good.
All right. Who do you take? One of my favorite features, Ralph. Why don't you take over?
Okay, so who do you take? We former Jets, we compare them. I'm thinking of 2 wide receivers who both played 4 years with the Jets, had almost exact same statistics, pretty similar size. They both played in the 2000s. Off the top of your head, do you have any idea who I'm talking about? And then we'll get into who we take.
Braylon Edwards?
No, not Braylon Edwards. You're pretty close. You're in the right ballpark, though, as far as timing.
I don't have a guess.
Santonio Holmes and Santana Moss.
That's a great question.
I mean, their stats, I was surprised.
Yeah.
They are almost identical with the Jets.
It's funny. I don't want to get out of the question, but in my mind, I'm having a hard time distinguishing these guys, to be honest with you. But who was the guy that caught the TD in the playoff game? Moss?
Which playoff game?
Yeah.
Moss. I think Moss had a couple of touchdowns.
Yeah,
in the playoffs,
I would say Moss by a hair, by a nose. Ray?
I liked Moss. I think as usual, we underused him. Like they seem to go elsewhere and then blow up, like Woodhead and all these others who do nothing for us. And then everybody's like, why didn't we keep him? Because
oh God, that pissed me off. What is it about the Jets? Are they the farm system for the Washington Redskins? I mean, for 50 years, Verlin Biggs, John Riggins, Lavernius Coles, Randy Thomas, John Hall, Moss. Moss. If in 50 years of following Jet drafts, he's, I think, the only guy that I wanted the Jets to take in the first round that they actually took that guy, and then they got rid of him.
Amazing. It really
but yeah, I think I'd go with Moss too. He was also a little more of a game breaker than Holmes, and he wasn't as much of a headache as Holmes.
Well, that was part of it.
Really?
That's right. Yeah. Okay. I remember Holmes signed a free agent contract. There was a front page picture of the Post.
But Holmes probably had one of the iconic winning touchdown catches in his ball.
He was chugging a bottle of champagne, I remember.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah,
Yeah.
the guy could play. There's no
He
question.
could play. He's a talent.
Yeah.
Look, there's so much talent in the NFL. So much goes to waste.
Yeah.
Wait, let's get back to the Jets and the podcast, Jets Rewind. Ralph, you have thoughts on the question of the day. If you could review that for our fans.
Yeah, I just was thinking since the Jets are kicking off their year and the Knicks will be in a couple of months. It's been a long time since both of these teams were in the conversation for actually being a serious contender for the championship. And my question is, over the next 2 years, which of these teams, our beloved New York teams, has a better shot at winning the championship? And I've been going back and forth. I don't know, Marty, why don't you start?
Well, of course, I'm going to give like a politician's answer. If the
That's
Jets,
Ray's job.
Ray does that usually. But
like
if the Jets don't do it this year, I would say it's the Knicks. That's how I'm going to answer it.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I don't know if that's a fair answer or not, but
Not really.
okay, that's okay. Okay, go ahead, Ray.
So let me just interpret. So you're saying this year the Jets have a better chance than the Knicks, but next year what will be it'll flip?
It'll be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Ray.
That's straddling the fence.
I'm never big on all-in scenarios, which the Jets are in right now. I'm hopeful, but I would go with the Knicks because I think they've set themselves up for a little more just long term. I know we're talking in the next 2 years, but I think
Yeah.
they're based there to do it. The Jets, a lot of things have to go just right, and they're all the competition. The NFL, there are so many good teams right now that I think you could, everybody looks at the Niners and the Chiefs, but I think you could throw about 10 teams in a hat and have a good chance at pulling out one of them that would do it. I mean, and ours would be one of them, but
Yeah.
a lot of things got to go right. And with our history, I'm not so sure that's.
Yeah, well, the Knicks, it's been 51 years and the Jets 55. So
Well,
with either one, it would be a shock, I think, to our systems.
Accused of the absolute worst owner in sports, but
He got Leon Rose, and so you got to give him that.
Leon Rose is still good. What do you
I don't
think?
even, I've been going back and forth because, for one thing, basketball and football are different in the playoffs. In that basketball, you have a lot of room for error. In football, you have a bad game, you're done. Now, that could actually work in the Jets' favor because every year, if the Jets are not necessarily the top seed, they still could beat the top seed in one game. So,
Right.
things go more to form in basketball in the playoffs. And I also think that the Eastern Conference is extremely competitive too in basketball now. Suddenly, Philly, Miami, Indiana, and Milwaukee, those teams could all beat the Knicks. Knicks could beat
Right.
them, but they're on the similar level. So, you know what? I think I'm going to pick the Jets.
all right.
Okay, there you go. Ralph, did I
We need
ask you,
somebody to be
Yeah.
did I ask you about that trade, Knicks and Philly, the proposed trade?
No. I mean, there's more proposed trades than there are proposals.
Embiid and Maxey
Oh,
for who's the guy they just signed, the good guard?
Anunoby.
No, Bridges.
Bridges.
No. The
Brunson.
Brunson.
So
Who's the
freaking-
forward that was hurt last year?
Randall.
Randall and Robinson. 3 for 2. Would you do it?
I can't stand Embiid.
I
I don't want him. I cannot root for that guy. I love Maxey. I think he's great.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do that trade because I want to see this Knick team. For like 14 games, they were world beaters before Randall and Anunoby went down. I want to see that again. I want to run it back.
No, they have a shot now. They're going to have more depth. Anunoby. I just wish they had re-signed Hartenstein, but there was no way they could.
No, they gave him way too much money for the Knicks. But that's their one hole right now. They got to get a center. He went to OKC.
Oklahoma City, yeah.
Yeah.
He was good.
Should be interesting. And it actually helps us transition out of the football season. We're always depressed. Ray, any thoughts on anything else with the Jets at all? I just want to, before you answer, Ray, for Jet fans, just if you're as devoted as us, today is it's Saturday, July 27th. Their first preseason game is Saturday, the 10th, August 10th against the Commanders. Then the Panthers the 17th.
Marty, do you know when their first joint practices?
I know the Giants the 24th. I was going to mention
Well, I
that.
think they're playing. It's with the Commanders, so it'll probably be a few days before the
Right,
game.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how they usually. I'm guessing next probably the Friday or Saturday is the green and white
Yeah.
scrimmage, which is the highlight of my year. And
We-
in between it, as Ralph says, there are going to be 3 inter-squad scrimmages. One's with the Commanders, so that would be that week, probably the 6th or 7th. Who are the other inter-squad scrimmages with Ralph? Is it the Panthers?
Yeah, I mean, who are they playing? Are they playing the Panthers?
I'm guessing it's the Panthers and the Giants.
Yeah, well, I always assume it's the teams they're playing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's probably what's
I
going to
think that
happen.
they had an inter squad with the Panthers last year. I remember, and what's his name? Salah thanked the other coach for not playing Brian Burns. He was worried about
That's
that.
right, yeah.
Um,
So once the gun goes off, it's before you know, it'll be September 9th and Monday night in San Francisco against the 49ers.
oh my God, everyone is just going to be just keeping their fingers crossed that guy stays upright.
I hope so.
That's the whole season right there. Yeah.
Ralph and Ray, Jeffrey Schupak, my son, a lifelong Red Sox fan that lived with a big Yankee fan and was surrounded on our street with Yankee fans and would be crying sometimes. I would tell him that things will eventually even out. And sure enough, starting, I guess it was 2004, it started.
Yeah, I guess so.
So now he's telling me that for the Jets. Have faith, Dad.
Oh my God, we got about 30 championships coming to us.
There you go.
Speaking of the Red Sox, they're having a year like the Mets. I mean, nobody expected anything of them, and baseball is interesting. These teams that throw out tons of money for players, it's a waste because you just have to have a good farm system, and
that's it.
You keep
That's one of the things about these quarterback contracts that just kill me. Is like they're just so afraid of it. Like Jordan Love, he had half a good year, and they're throwing 200 and some million at him.
It's
other guys, and then if they go down like Tua, he had injury issues. He had a good year.
You know what, Ray, and Ralph brought it up at the last podcast with Trevor Lawrence, who was awful the last 7 games. Think about it. What choice did these teams have?
They don't.
They really don't have a choice. They have to commit the money. There's something not fair about it, but it's just unbelievable.
Well, it kills your cap.
Yeah. What's interesting though is that we all believe in the system where you sit the quarterback for a couple of years. But the one disadvantage of that is, like with the Packers, they only really got 1 year to see the guy before his next contract came up.
Yeah.
So in that regard, it's kind of makes it awkward. But he had a better year than probably than Lawrence did last year.
Oh yeah, the second half of the year he was outstanding.
Yeah, he was. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Ray, anything you want to add about the Jets or going into, I guess, the Hall of Fame
Ralph
game?
asked, the one I was wondering was who are they going to start out doing these inter-squad scrimmages with? That's what I was wondering, or practices.
I'll look into it. I'll get back to you. I'll announce it at our next podcast.
Yeah. One more thought on that Jet Nick thing. I think the one area the Knicks have the advantage in is that Thibodeau is a much more proven coach than Salah. So and also the Knicks have been in the playoffs the last couple of years and had some tough. They kind of have learned the ropes. I think they know what it takes. So those are advantages for them. But I still think, unlike you, Marty, I think the Jets are a 2-year threat. I think next year is definitely their fair game for being a contender too.
So you think Salah has a 2-year window as long as like, let's say.
I think he has a 2-year win. If they make the playoffs this year, definitely. Even if they get knocked off in the first round, I think he's got a 2. He'll come back. If they don't make the playoffs, then
He's done. How about you, Ray? 2-year window for Sal if they make the playoffs?
Oh, definitely if he makes the playoffs. And I mean, tell me how he misses the playoffs and he still might have 2 years. But if
well,
it's a disaster.
you know what happens if the team gets off to a bad start? He just breaks one of Rodgers' legs and he gets his excuse.
That's
I
what
mean,
it is.
if some bad injury happens at late in the year and all of a sudden we go in a tailspin, that could change how they look at him. But if it gets off to a bad start or whatever again, then he hasn't got a prayer. But
Right.
making the playoffs is a lock. He's definitely getting the second year.
All right. With that, we're going to close this out for Jets Rewind. Check out our website and especially our YouTube channel. It's under Schupak Sports. We really wanted to see how good looking all three of us are. So for Ralph Schrager, Ray Clifford, and Marty Schupak, until next time.